Now then another thing, if you can't hear yourself in the headset, I can't hear you either, so it's because it triggers, the mic will trigger. And if it's not sensitive enough, or if it's too sensitive, you control the squelch right there that controls the sensitivity. If I turn it down, out. If I turn it back up, it gets more sensitive.
Okay.
And then this is our intercom right here. This is just how loud you and I are to each other. That's that knob right there. And then to control the volume of the radio, everybody else, you got the volume control right here.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so we got ATIS, AWAS. So ATIS is automated. That's controlled airport. They have that's something I'll explain a little later. AWAS, automated weather observation system. That's what we have. So right here, I've got it set up in COM2. The frequency for AWAS here is 135.22. So we got that in there. Now, in order to listen to it, you got the audio panel up here. You can either listen to it through the speaker, which is right here, or I can listen to it through the headphones. So we want to listen to COM2. So right there, COM2 phones. Hit that, and we'll start hearing it.
Chandler traffic, Cherokee 140.
Fresno, Chandler Executive Airport. Automated weather observation 1741 Zulu. Wind missing. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition clear below 12,000. Temperature 25 Celsius. Dew point 14 Celsius. Altimeter 3000. Inches of mercury. Remarks. Density altitude 1700.
All right, cool. So the wind is missing. It's been missing for a while. They need to get it fixed. So we're going to have to use the windsock just like a lot of other airports have to do. So wind is calm. So when the wind is calm here at this airport, if we read the AFD, which I'll show you in a little bit, or show you when we get back on the ground, the calm wind runway is runway 30. So that's the one down there.
Brake test. So
Okay.
With the emergency brakes off, right?
Yeah, we never use the parking brake really. It's yep. So you just kind of let it roll a couple feet forward and pull the power to idle and check that. Good.
Okay. Brakes is good.
You want to, generally, when you idle the airplane, you want to keep it like 11 to 1200. That's a good rule of thumb. If it goes down to 1000, that's no big deal. But 11 to 1200, something like that's fine.
And the attitude indicator.
So this is the one where what it's telling you to do is while we're taxiing, it wants you to look at the attitude indicator and the heading indicator and the turn coordinator to make sure that they're working correctly. But I like to use it to remember to check everything right now. So airspeed should be at 0. On the attitude indicator, it's upright and within 5 degrees. And when I say upright, the little plate in the back there, when the gyro isn't spinning, it just falls down. So it's upright, it's like it should be, and it's within 5 degrees of bank. The altimeter is set and within 75 feet of field elevation. Field elevation is 278 feet, and we're showing about 230. And turn coordinators, wings level, ball is centered, no cracks, leaks, or bubbles, and then no flags right up there. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of white on that flag, but it's still working, and you'll notice it when we're turning. It works. All right, and then heading indicator, set it. Looks about 340. It's about what you got it to. And then vertical speed indicator, just like last time, shows about 50 foot descent is our 0 indication.
Temps are all good?
Yep, and that's the one that's really, if it gets to 400, if any of these are at 400 or a little bit over, it's time to start working to cool down the airplane.
Okay.
So generally on the ground, that's almost impossible to get in that high, but climb out, that's why we climb at 75 instead of 70. Actually, best rate of climb is 70 in this airplane, but I climb at 75 just because it keeps it cooler.
Okay.
So that 5 knots actually makes a lot of difference. And then one more thing over here, you got this GPS. I know it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to try and fix the mount so it kind of turns more towards you guys, but it's asking you to agree to all these terms. It's like, hey, here's the valid period, and it's expired a little bit, but still got plenty of valid information to help you get from point A to point B. So so you hit OK like that, or hit the enter button right there, and it takes you here. If you want to set up to fly to an airport, let's say we were going to go to Madeira or something like that, got that little D with the arrow through it, that means direct to. So you hit the direct to button, then it takes you to the go to, and you got the airport code right there. You hit enter, and Madeira is KMAE, or Mike Alpha Echo. So there's M-A-E, Madeira, California, enter, and it goes down to go to, enter again, boom, says course to get there, 304, it's 20.5 miles, and then it'll tell your ground speed and your ETA once you see it going. And then right here, that's your track over the ground, 237, so as you're, that's what, your heading is obviously where the nose of the airplane's pointed, then your ground track is what you're actually doing over the ground, which depending on what the wind is doing up there is going to be different. So unless there was absolutely 0 wind up there, let me say, if there was no wind up there, they'd be the same. So, all right, cool.
So run up, brakes set.
Run up, that's what we do over there. So now we are ready to taxi. Cool.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and per the request of Frank Reese, he doesn't want us taking this taxiway because then we blast out his building. So let's go over to that one. Yeah.
Okay, and let's.
We can keep it open.
You
Yeah.
leave it open?
Yeah, we can keep it. Just keep some air coming in here.
Okay.
And then we'll close it right before takeoff.
Okay, so brakes are off.
All right, looks good. Remember, just got to turn it with the feet.
And the brakes or the rudder?
The rudder, and just watch your wingtip over there.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, just use the rudder, and then if you get to the extremes of the rudder travel and it's not turning hard enough, then you can add a little bit more brake. And then just kind of keep one hand on the throttle as we go, and then you can pull power out as you need and stuff like that. And we'll hang this right, and then we're going to hang that next left.
So now we're ready for the run up, right?
Yep, so brake set, that means you hold it with your feet.
Okay, I've got that done.
Fuel selector's on. Nobody should have turned it off.
Trim.
Right here, so you see TO and 0, so that's neutral, but for takeoff you want a slight bit of nose up trim, help you get off the ground.
So, T is takeoff, 0 is
correct.
Neutral, okay.
Yep, so you got to line up right there, we're good.
Flight controls.
Yep, so that one comes up, so box it out, so we go all the way left, then we pull back, we look at the elevator, it's working, now we'll stay back, we go to the right, that aileron comes up, that one's down, push forward, elevator goes down, and then we kick the rudders. And you can see the rudders kicking back there. Cool. Flight controls are free and correct.
Okay. Instruments, I was checking this on the way out.
Yep.
Everything looks good. Fuel pressure is okay as long as it's in the green.
Correct.
Oil temp.
Yep.
Fuel's good. Thing looks good.
Cool. And then that one says mixture best power. This is, I keep forgetting to do it. I'm trying to remember to take it in this time, but this best power for us is full rich. So go ahead and just pull full forward. There we go.
And then just step on the brakes and run that up?
Correct. So just hold the brakes, go up to 1800 RPM, just the bottom of the green arc.
Okay, so that looks good.
Good, and then we go over to the mag check, so 2 clicks to the left, and we want to watch the drop here. Looks good. Back 2 to the right.
Okay, now the left one.
Check, check.
Okay, that one's good.
Good.
They're both good. They're both on both. The fuel pump is off.
Yeah, for now, correct. So
fuel pressure.
Oh, you skipped over. That's the start checklist. We went over one to the left. So there we go. So mags left and right test. We did that. They were good. Carb heat test. So now you just pull this, and we're going to look for a drop on the RPMs. All the way back. Got the drop. We know it's working. Go full power. Or I'm sorry, full up on the carb heat.
Okay. The vacuum.
So that's right here. That's the one that runs these two right here, and it's between 4.3 and 5.9 inches of mercury, or right inside that green arc.
And the amps and volts.
So there's your ammeter right there.
Positive.
That's, yep, and then their voltage right here between 12 and 14 volts.
Okay.
That's good. And it can even go touch over 14, not gonna hurt anything.
Oil pressure is good. It's in the green.
Cool.
Oil temp and oil pressure.
Good.
Okay, the idle check close.
So this is where you pull the power back like this, and just gently, you know, don't have to close it too fast, or you can super cool things, but you go all the way to the stops, make sure the engine still runs, and then you can go back up to your usual 1100, 1200, you know, idle.
Throttle friction.
So that's this right here controls how, you know, it puts pressure on these levers. You can even see it moving, you know.
Going in and out.
Yeah, so like once you're cruising or something like that, or let's say after takeoff and you're climbing out, you know, and you got full power and everything like that, you can put it all the way down just so it holds everything there and no levers work their way out, because that does happen.
So this is when it's on, and when it's up, it's when it's
yeah, and it's adjustable. You can do just a slight bit more. Just, you know, if it's really loose and flopping all around, you can just put a little bit in there if you want, or, you know, however you want to do it.
Okay.
That's purely a, you know, up to you, however it feels best for you. Just as long as they stay where they're supposed to, I'm good with it.
Sure. Pre-takeoff, flaps are at 0 degrees. That's the neutral, right?
Correct. That's all the way, yep, all the way up.
Okay, the mixture is best power. The fuel pump, we turn this back on for takeoff?
Yep, for redundancy, yep.
Carburetor heat is off.
Yep.
Torpedo heat.
As required, we're not flying in clouds today, so we don't need to worry about it.
HI to compass.
So heading indicator, we'll just check again, make sure it's still good.
Pretty close.
It's a little off. Turn it like, something like that.
Doors, windows.
I'll get mine at the last second. Keep little air coming in here.
Okay. Landing light on, strobes.
And I skipped one thing. So we're
Transporter alternate.
Yep, so altitude. So that shows air traffic control. You'll see the altitude pop up right there, 002. So that's it. So no, you actually want to leave it there because it's broadcasting our altitude
That's
over
the
to
transponder?
them. That's the transponder, correct.
Okay. Landing light on, strobes on, time note.
Abort plan ready. So for abort plan, if anything happens on takeoff, you know, and I'll say abort to the takeoff, abort, 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 usually is the correct call that you want to use. Power comes to idle, stop the airplane on the runway. Not a big deal. If anything happens after takeoff, and there's, you know, obviously if we have enough runway, we'll come back down onto the runway and land on the remaining runway. If there's not enough runway, we'll find the best possible spot we can. That's basically it.
Hang on.
Yeah. All right, so that's our abort plan.
Okay,
we are ready to go.
So we're ready to run out the...
Yep, ready to go right out there. So,
do you want to close this down?
Yeah, you can go ahead and close yours. I'll get mine and I'll get the latch at the last second. Just keep some air going in here. And then just always check base and final. Make sure that there's no airplanes and take a real good look and you want to listen. I turned that down on you, so fix it. So yeah, I want to listen to the radios and start kind of getting an idea if people are coming in, anybody's coming around, but I don't see anything, so I think we're good to go.
Okay.
Chandler traffic, Skipper 4 in the McAbee, taking off runway 30 left, crosswind departure to the west, Chandler.
Alright, so I got the door. Go ahead and go get lined up out on center line. You can just go straight ahead and kind of like cut over. Get nice and lined up. And then this is a pretty good spot for the checklist right here. You can set it up there. You don't have to hold it while you're flying. Okay. Good. Perfect. Just like that. Alright, so throttle goes to roughly 2,000. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of get it up there. Check the engine gauges. Make sure everything looks good. Looks good. Heels come to the floor. Full power. And you need that right rudder. Excellent. So just that right rudder, keep us going nice and straight.
The left turning.
Yep. And try and, while you're on takeoff, try and keep one hand right there, yeah, just to protect the throttle. Now you look over, airspeed's alive.
Okay, we're going. Oops.
Little right rudder, there you go, keep it in.
Okay,
And we're looking for 60.
It's coming up on its own.
There it is, right there. There's your 60, and you start rotating, pull back, and we're flying.
Okay, we're up.
We are up.
Oops.
That's just the nose wheel shaking a little bit. There it goes. Now it's slowing down. Excellent. Very nice takeoff. And now we just keep the wings nice and level and pick a point straight off the runway. Fly right for it. Just at 75 knots. Looking good. And if you're having to fight control pressure, always keep using that trim. It'll help you out.
Oh, I want to go down, right?
Yep, however you're having to fight it. Where if you
it's coming up too much.
The nose is, yeah, then you want to do that right there. The trim is going to be for an airspeed. So right now, are you having to put any control pressure in?
A little bit, yeah.
Here, kind of let go of the controls. Kind of let's see what the nose wants to do. Oh yeah, it really wants to come up.
So we rotate up if it wants to come up.
Right. So you got to kind of let go. Don't put any pressure in right now. Let's see what it does. And you kind of just let it keep coming up. And then if you see, I've got one hand on the trim and one hand on the yoke. So I mean, I got one hand on here. So if it really comes up on us, we can kind of hold it. But you kind of want to let it do its thing.
Okay.
And then trim out the pressure so it just kind of goes by itself. Now, are you having to fight anything really?
No.
Okay, good. That's what we want. All right, so now we're just looking for 800 feet. That's per noise abatement procedures. We can't turn until we're above 800 feet. So once we get there, we're going to turn, follow the section lines on out, go to the practice area.
Okay.
And also another thing, at 800 feet is going to be your new cue. Once you get there and you're in the pattern, turn the fuel pump off. All right, there's 800. Go ahead and turn left, follow right on out. Look to the left, no airplanes, we're good.
Traffic, Skipper 4 in the McAbee, turn a left crosswind departing the area to the west, Chandler.
And then we'll turn the fuel pump off right now.
So when we're climbing, we want it full rich on climb.
Correct, yeah, because that excess fuel that's in there, some of the fuel doesn't get burned, and it actually cools down the cylinders, so it keeps the engine cooler. You wouldn't think so. You'd think, well, more fuel, more fires, it's going to be hotter. No, it doesn't. So it drastically cools down the engine.
Okay, so we're at 3.
Perfect, so you just push the nose down, let it kind of start accelerating, or let it start accelerating. And and there's your 80 knots, so that's about right. Now you can pull power back to like 2400, and that should, if you get it trimmed out, that should be about 80 knots in level flight. Perfect. A little bit more, that's 23. So generally speaking, 2200 will give you 70 knots, 2300 will give you 75, and 2400 will give you 80 knots. That's just kind of a general rule of thumb. So if you want to get 80 knots, push that power back to about 24, the top of the green arc up there, right before in between the green and yellow.
Now, will that change when I get rid of the fuel mixture?
It will change a little bit, yeah. It'll go up very slightly, maybe 50 or 60 RPM, something like that.
Okay, so
there's that. So here, I'll give you a little bit, well, pretty well trimmed. We'll leave it alone. But I just want you to see it. So if I start pulling it back, just watch the RPMs. You'll see it kind of...
It's going to go up, right?
It's going to go up.
And then it'll settle?
Correct. Not going up too much, huh?
No.
It's already starting to go. You see the engine getting rough? That's what I'm talking about. Now you're too lean, so you just clean it back in, push it back in, we're good. But yeah, that really didn't go up very much. I thought it would go up a lot more than that. Alright, so we're leaned out, we're just cruising around now. Alright, so I want you to try and give me a nice coordinated turn too. So as you're turning, you're going to have to give it a little bit of rudder to keep that ball centered. Give me a right turn heading 330. Let's try 30 degrees of bank. So you got 10 degrees, 20, 30. So yeah, roll it all the way to 30, keep me nice and coordinated. Take me over 330.
There's 10, there's 20. There's 30.
Very nice. Now, as we turn, we're losing some vertical component of lift, so we start descending, so you have to pull back just a touch, and yeah, keep it coming. I want to keep the turn coming a little bit and kind of talk you through it. So, very good. So you're pulling up, you can see it starting to kind of go away, and so you're trading...
I'm going farther than you.
Yeah, we're going for it. Let's just keep it going for now. I want to kind of keep it going. You got it set real good here. We're holding altitude now. Good. Alright, as we get to about, the section lines right here. Once you line up with the section lines, go ahead and roll out on the heading.
Okay, so start rolling out about now?
Yeah, probably a nice gentle roll out. Yeah, very, very smooth like that. Excellent, that's really smooth. Good.
Okay, so
That was good. So we did lose some altitude.
Yep.
But that's okay. But what happens is as we, if you were to turn the airplane and not pull back at all, just bank the airplane. Exactly. So you have to, you're trading the vertical component of lift for some horizontal component of lift, which makes the airplane turn. So in order to get that vertical lift back, you have to increase the angle of attack, which brings the airplane back up.
Okay.
So go ahead and try that again. Let's do one to the left this time. Let's do a 180-degree turn back the opposite section lines. 30 degrees bank, all the same stuff. So we'll just start rolling into it.
Okay, I'm keeping it up.
Good. Good, yeah, you're nailing altitude right now. And you can see when you come in, you just check the gauges and then look back outside, and however the nose looks relative to the horizon, just keep it like that.
Yeah.
And then every, 7-8 seconds, come back inside, check everything. All right, yeah, we're descending a little bit. Pitch back just a touch, and go back outside, and then come back in a few seconds and see how that worked. Good, right on the section lines, good. Excellent. Very, very, very good. All right, now for descent, there's several ways to do it. You can do it...
Sure, let me get back up just a little bit.
Sure. If you want to climb, just go ahead and go full power. Go ahead and jam it back in there. I'll just climb at 75. Now, for a descent, you can do it two ways. You can do a constant airspeed descent, or you can do a constant rate descent. So we'll do both. We'll start with a constant airspeed descent.
Don't see anybody else out here.
Nope, and I'm listening to approach, so if there is anybody out here, they're not talking to approach either. Which, a lot of times out here they do, especially if it gets busy.
Okay, so we're back at 3.
Yep, so just lower the nose, let it kind of accelerate back up to 80.
Before I come off the gas.
Right, because the reason why is because otherwise we'll just very, very sluggishly get up to 80. So it's just kind of like leave the power in, let the plane accelerate, and then once you get to the airspeed you want, pull the power back. push the nose back a little bit. Perfect.
Okay, we're about
Good. So just pull the power back just to right to 2400. Just right where the green and yellow meet. Good.
okay.
Very good. All right, so for descent, we'll start with a constant airspeed descent. We'll descend right at 80 knots. So really, I mean, you can leave the power setting.
About 70.
Yeah, we're a little slow right now, so if we push the nose forward, what happens is as we gain airspeed, we're going to initially start a descent, but as we gain airspeed, we're going to start getting more lift created by the wing because we're going faster. So it'll only descend for just a second. Then once we start generating more lift, it'll level us off.
Okay.
All right, cool. Alright, so for constant airspeed, get it nice and trimmed out for 80 knots, so you can push it forward a little bit more and just kind of put a touch of trim in there. Does it look like that's about what it wants to hold? Yep. Pretty close? Alright, good. Alright, so for constant airspeed descent, now we can pull power out, and the airplane is trimmed out for 80 knots right now, so it just wants to fly at 80. Yep. If you pull power out, it's going to start trading altitude for airspeed. So this is how you do a constant airspeed descent. Pull the power back. We'll pull it back to like 1900. Now the nose is starting to come down, and it's just going to start chasing that airspeed. So you kind of let the airplane start descending, but you want to control it a little bit. If it starts getting too much over top, you got to do little corrections here and there. But generally speaking, you just let the airplane come on down. You can see that's giving us about a 500, 600 feet a minute, descent. And that's generally what you want. 500 feet per minute keeps everybody comfortable. It's slow enough that your sinuses, the pressure can equalize and everything without having a lot of pain or anything. That's about it. So we'll descend down to 2,700. Let's do that. So we're at 2,900 right now. For a level off, simply just bring the power right back in the way we had it before.
The way it's all trimmed out.
Yeah, exactly. Because we had it trimmed for 80. We know that 2,400 RPMs will generally give you 80. That's a rule of thumb. It's not an exact science, but that's a rule of thumb.
And is that the same in other?
No, it's airplane to airplane. So there's 2,700. Go ahead and push the power back to 2,400. Get it back in there, and the airplane's going to start pitching up on its own and want to just level off. Because now you're getting this power, and the airplane starting to accelerate, but it doesn't want to accelerate. It wants to fly at 80.
Yeah.
So that's it. Now we're leveling back off, just like that. Pretty simple, huh?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Climbs are the same way. Once you get the airplane trimmed out for 75 knots, whatever you do with the power, if you're at full power, it'll just climb at 75. If you pull power out, it'll descend at 75. So, good deal. All right. Let's go ahead and turn due west.
Okay.
Let's do 30 degrees of bank. So kind of roll it in relatively aggressively, not a fighter jet, but relatively kind of get it turned to 30 degrees and just crank us over. Good, just like that. Excellent. Keep it going all the way over to 30. Good, we're looking around, no airplanes. Looking good.
This is the current Fresno altimeter 3000.
Here comes your west, there it is right there, roll it out. Excellent.
I came down about 100.
Oh, that's all right. No problem at all. Sure nobody else.
Showing traffic, skip before Lima Golf, 7.5 miles to the west, descending through 1,700, maneuvering left 45 entry, runway 30, Chandler.
So basically just told them that, hey, we're 7.5 miles out to the west here. We're kind of northwest, but, and I told them we're maneuvering to get on the left 45 entry for runway 30. Alright, so now we're entering left downwind, so we make the call.
Chandler traffic, skip before Lima Golf, entering left downwind, runway 30, number 2, Chandler.
And I say number 2. If there's another airplane ahead of you, say number 2. If there's 2 planes ahead of you, you're number 3.
Okay. And that's him out there, right?
That's him out there. All right, looking good. Now that we're on the downwind, we want to slow the airplane down a little bit. So just pull power back to 2,200 RPMs, and you're going to have to retrim it for 70 knots. So 2,200 will give you 70 knots in local flight.
Landing runway 30, Chandler.
So kind of fly it with the yoke first and keep that nose coming up. Kind of slow it down. Good job. There we go. Kind of like this, kind of hold it. Now trim out the pressure so it wants to stay there. A little bit more, it's still coming. Oh, up, other way. Yeah, you were trimming nose down. That's all right. A little bit more. All right. Probably a touch more because trim's actually pretty important on this one. Let's try. That's going to be pretty close, I think. All right, good deal. So we're beaming the numbers. We're a little past it. That's all right. Fuel pump comes on. Power goes to 1,800 RPMs. Just pull it out. Good. And flaps will go to 10. A little bit more on the power. So pull it back to 1,800, right at the bottom of the green arc. There you go.
Okay, so, and then what do I do for flaps 10 or?
Flaps 10, yeah. So you go all the way to down, and then once that arrow, that little needle hits 10, just flick it to middle. A little bit further. Perfect. Good. Now we're just kind of looking at the runway. So you can see we're kind of dog-legging it away from the runway a little bit. So let's come back to the left a touch. And we're about ready to turn base anyway. But yeah, okay, if you look at the runway, that's pretty much what it should look like. We're a little far out here, but that's about what it should look like for the base turn. So go ahead and turn it and let the airplane keep coming on down.
Chandler traffic to perform. Lima Golf, turn left base, runway 30, number 2, Chandler.
Oh, I guess he's on the ground already.
Yep.
All right, looking good. So now we want to square it off, so you want to fly a nice rectangular pattern. So try and get as perpendicular to the runway as you possibly can.
So I want to be this way and then try and turn where you
Yeah, so turn a little bit more this way. We're kind of heading out away from the runway. A little bit more, kind of. There we go, that looks pretty good. So kind of the security bank building, I guess, that's for where we are. All right, so now you go flaps 20. So go ahead and, same thing you did, just till the needle hits 20. Perfect, excellent. And now keep one hand on the throttle just in case we were to suddenly get slow. You want to be able to make a quick reaction or something like that, but we're looking real good so far.
Okay, when do I want to turn here?
Not quite yet. Probably right there. That looks good. Go ahead and start turning it in.
Chandler traffic 4, Lima Golf, base to final 30, Chandler.
A little bit steeper turn. Keep going. There we go.
Okay, where am I?
Chandler traffic, Cherokee 3130 Romeo, taxi fuel to 30 run up. Chandler.
All right, so you see the 4 lights on the right?
Yep.
All right, the 2 red, 2 white means you're on glide path. Red means you're low, white means you're high. So you got 3 reds, so you're a little low. So give it a little bit of power and kind of pitch it out. A little more power, good. So we're kind of holding altitude for right now until we get back on glide path.
Okay.
Chandler traffic.
All right, so now you got the 2 red, 2 white. That means you're on glide path. If you keep going straight for those numbers, it'll stay just like that.
Okay.
We're looking real good. I got your last notch of flaps for you. Good. All right. So now we're right where we should be. Now you can start pulling just a touch of power. Yep, excellent. Just like that. Perfect.
And then
This is looking great. Once we get closer to the runway, keep it coming down.
4 red.
Yeah, now we're past the power lines, so we don't have to worry about anything more. So pull the power out. Just come on to the ground. There we go. And now we're just going to hold it right above the ground. A little left rudder. Whoops, we ballooned a little bit. Just line it up and we're going fishing. There it is. That's all it is. I just try and keep right on center line. Excellent. So we can now hit the brakes a little bit, pull back on the controls, and that kind of helps.
Slow down.
And just easy on the brakes. Nice and easy. There we go. Pulling it back. Good. Now we can hit echo right here. Nice job.